Howdy, paper engineers in training. This is Michael, the paper engineer. As you can see, Cupcake decided that she wanted to get into the movies. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm doing detail work on the Warhammer tank. Now, what you have to do is little bits, you got to make things look cool. All right, so what I've got here is I have got the armor for the Warhammer tank. These are the track bolts that actually will hold the lower rollers in place for the tracks. Now, when you're doing something like this, it's kind of important to make sure your symmetry is correct. And so the symmetry on something like this is make the bolts all line up the best you can. And so one of the ways to do that is while everything is still wet, which is what I have going on right now, is I'm just now gluing these pieces on, and these parts represent bolts. Now I line these up just like this, and what I check on is I check to make sure that they line up this way with each other. All right, because that makes your symmetry correct. All right, and with correct symmetry, what you end up with is a much better looking build. Because when you're building with a model kit, okay, I need some more of those. When you're building with a model kit, all your parts are symmetrical. Because they're made that way. All right, when you're building by hand, like what I'm teaching you how to do, you have to make everything symmetrical. And I used to have guys in the Gray Bar Motel come up all the time and say, "How's Mr. Symmetry doing?" Because my parts that I made looked like they're factory made. And the reason they look like they're factory made is because my symmetry was good. Now I got a little bit too much glue right there, and so I just spread it out where I need it, and right there. And now we're going to put on these here bolts. Now these little punch outs represent bolts, and when it's all painted, they look good. They look just like bolts. I gotta let the cat out. Okay, we'll see you. Have fun. All right. Okay. Uh-oh, cat fur. Uh-huh. And so, I've just about got all those on there. That one's too small. And that's something, every once in a while you get a piece that is actually too small. It's like it's a piece of the paper when you were punching it out did not go with it. It made it too small. Now I found the other half of it right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those two pieces together and make one correct bolt head. Now you line these up like this, and you hold on to that, and then you line up your bolt heads with each other so that they look right. Stay there. And there is the rest of those done. Now, as you can see, I got the facing piece on this, which covered up these on this side. And you can see here, this is going to be the superstructure for the armor plating. And now, what I have got going on here is now I can actually start putting these pieces on. So we're going to add some bonding agent, Elmer's glue. If you're in Europe, it's PVA. And now, there we go. I need this. Because your fingers are actually too big to let everything fit properly. And so here I put this on just like that. And there you can see how that goes. Now these pieces, there's a lot of pieces to this. I've got this cut out onto this plate, this punch out here, and this metal bar that I glued on. Then I took a piece of tissue paper, cut out tissue paper, and then I glued it right over top of this plate. Now what that does is it locks it in place so that it can't come out. But anyway, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's 19 parts to each one of these plates. Now, what I did was, before, I went ahead and I put a mark on this face plate, this one here, to where that very first piece had to line up for it to all fit on here properly. And then you fit these into place. Now, as you can see, that detail work is starting to come along nicely. And what happens is, oh, and by the way, the tracks turned out really well. And so this is my second set of tracks, 85 Q-tips. And so, matter of fact, I'm gonna have to go to the dollar store and get a couple more boxes of them. Okay, so that went on. And what you want to watch on this is when you put these in place, you want to make sure that you don't push any of the little buttons out of location. All right, because if you knock these bolt heads out of place, then your symmetry falls apart, and you have to go back in and fix that. And that's all you got to do. You just got to keep working this stuff. Now, as you can see, I'm going to have to build the tracks next on this, plus detail work. And these are my track plates. All right, painted them black this time. That way, when you glue them on, then you see this edge of these tracks. They look correct. I forgot to do that with this first track. I was in such a hurry to show you how this goes together that I didn't do that. And so what I ended up doing is I had to go through here and paint them all individually, which takes a whole lot more time than if you paint them first. And you don't have to wait long, just a little while, to get that to stick well. Now, there is a lot more detail work that goes on these parts, like here and back here and on top of here, before I can even get ready to close in this track set. All right, now I have to have both track sets built before I start putting them on the chassis itself, because you if you do not do that, what happens is the track blocks. This is what I call a track block, okay? Because it is a block of work. But anyway, this track block, if you do not have both of them set up so that when you put your cross pieces in, I already have the cross pieces made. These go in here like this. These are going to hold the tracks apart. All right, but if you do not have both your track pieces set up correctly, what happens is you end up making errors. And some of them become errors that are very, very difficult to fix. And this is the last track block that goes in. And see, I think of real building principles while I'm making stuff. Okay, now you've got lower track rollers, all right, on these track plates, or behind these track plates. And so what it is that if you're out in the field and you break a roller on this, what you do is all you have to do is pull these 6 bolts out of here, pull this piece off, and you can get to that roller without having to take the tank tracks off. So anyway, there's some more detail work. Now, as you can see, the superstructure for this armor is right here, and you can see how I added these pieces in here. These are just little cut pieces of paperclip. All right, that's all finished in there, and there is some more work done on your Warhammer TPA tank, TPA faction, I should say, the Paper Army faction of Warhammer. A brand new faction. We're creating it right here in the Paper Army. And so that concludes another episode of the tutorial on the tank build. Salute, Paper Army. I will see you in my live show, noon to 2 Pacific Standard Time. Take care, you guys. We love you a lot.